Hey guys, Godzilla 851 here with the next video in the Godzilla retrospective. All Kaiju Daishingeki. All monsters attack. U.S. title and known as Godzilla's Revenge. Okay. Wow. Coming off the heels of Destroy All Monsters, you'd think that the ante would be upped a little more, or how could they possibly top Destroy All Monsters? Let me give a fair warning right now. If you are a fan of this movie, please do not hold this against me in a personal manner, but remember how I said a couple of reviews ago how I felt Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster was a huge step backwards? This is like being on one side of the planet and then immediately being sent to the other side. This movie is just wow. Okay, be fair, I'm gonna go over it and let's see if we can put a better spin on this. So our film begins with a montage of Godzilla doing his thing, all from different films, which I don't have a problem with. You know, you see scenes from Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, you know, good stuff. And we cut to Tokyo, Japan. Which leaves the question, is this still 1999, or did we go back in time? Yeah, because if this is 1999, like they said in Destroy All Monsters, does that mean that we're in the future now? Or are we just pretending that the 1999 thing wasn't mentioned and we're back in time now? Maybe I'm asking all the wrong questions. So we meet our main character named Ichiro. A nice kid, you know, a little shy. He has a thing for monsters. And Monster Island. You know, so did I as a kid, so, you know. And then we meet a friend of his. You know, they're chummy, but then we meet his bully. A bully named Gabara. Not Gamera, Gabara. We'll get into him later. So, Ichiro, he's a good student, and both his parents work most of the time during the day, so he only sees them at night. And his neighbor takes care of him. You know, he makes dinner, he checks up on him, makes sure everything's okay, makes sure he does his homework, you know, being a good guy. Come to find out, in the area where they live, 50 million yen has been stolen. There are a lot of bank robbers around this time for the Godzilla films. And they are suspected to be in the area, hiding out. Where? No one knows. Meanwhile, Ichiro, he's a very inventive kid. You know, the stuff he makes isn't very practical, but, you know, he made this device. It's, you know, mainly for fantasy, where he can actually contact Monster Island and an airway to go to Monster Island. After learning that his mother isn't going to be home all night because she has to work as a friend of hers called in sick at the hotel that she works at, he decides to, you know, go to Monster Island with this device. And he goes right to Monster Island, and who does he see? Godzilla. Or should I say he goes to stock footage of Godzilla battling the three Kamacuras from Son of Godzilla. Okay. So after that, Godzilla is, you know, wandering around, and All of a sudden, Ichiro starts to see other monsters. He sees Gorosaurus. More stock footage. Then we see Anguirus. Stock footage. And then we see, other monsters as well. Manda is there. Stock footage. You get where I'm going. You get where I'm going with this. Then Ichiro is searching around and he runs into the surviving Kamakura from earlier. And he falls into this hole, this massive hole. This hole is deep enough to fit 2 Godzillas in, and he survives. Usually whenever I have a bad dream and I fall, I wake up. But he gets up then, he's tough in his dreams. When a vine comes down and helps him out, Ichiro runs into this guy. Minya. And he's human-sized. And then Minya starts to talk. Now, the Japanese version of Minya, they give him a normal voice. However, they give him like a little reverberation to the voice as well, to make him sound like he's still a little bit of a monster, but still cute and cuddly to come up to. The American version, he's like, Godzilla says, like, oh, to fight my own battles, Just, okay. Someone's pulling my leg, right? No, apparently this is the gimmick of the movie. Ichiro becomes very good friends with Minya. And then we go to stock footage of Godzilla battling the giant condor. And Godzilla defeats the giant condor like he did in Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. Speaking of Godzilla and the sea monster, Godzilla goes out to sea, and he battles Ibara at nighttime. But back on the island, it's daytime. Every time they cut back to Godzilla, it'd be dark out. And then when Godzilla and Ibara rise from the ocean the second time, it's daytime out. Godzilla defeats Ibara and then comes back to land, and then he battles, the jets from earlier. The stock footage from Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. And, after that, Minya is taught how to breathe fire and stuff, and Ichiro, he gets woken up several times during this, but he always likes going to Monster Island. And I like that. It's fun the movie is exploring that. I like it. It's nice. And then we come to find out that the robbers are a lot closer than one thought. Because Ichiro goes out for a little walk, and he sees this abandoned building that the bullies and Gabara like to hang out at. So he takes a couple of radio tubes and headphones, and he goes back to Monster Island, where we meet up with Minya again, and then we meet this thing. Yeah, Gabara, the monster. And I have to say, Gabara looks awesome. Very monstrous and just a kaiju all the way, okay? It's strange, it's odd, and just looks like something right out of your nightmares. Get the theme of the movie? So, Gabara just beats up Minya, and Ichiro is woken up again because the robbers realize that Ichiro found one of their driver's license. So they follow him back to his house, and they kidnap Ichiro. As they have Ichiro, one of the robbers goes out to steal a car, and Ichiro falls asleep. And he wakes up back on Monster Island. Okay. And he witnesses Minya battling with Gabara again. This time, Godzilla's not around to, look on. And then, Gabara is just doing his thing when Godzilla finally does show up. Godzilla is saying, to Minya, you have to fight him yourself. So Minya is still getting the crap kicked out of him. Godzilla, getting a little help by breathing fire at Gabara. But Minya is able to use his brain along with the help of Ichiro uses his brain. He teaches Minya a way to defeat Gabara. You see, Gabara steps onto this wooden plank, and then Minya jumps off, and he grows to his big size, and it sends Gabara flying in the air, and knocks out Gabara. Godzilla comes, and he's clapping, and he's congratulating Minya, when Gabara decides he wants to have a fight with Godzilla. And this fight is pretty short. Godzilla actually kicking the crap out of Gabara. Gabara showing off its power to use electricity. During this fight, I got this very familiar feeling. All the judo throws that were used, being thrown around, tossed over, the electricity. I had a funny feeling that this is a way of taking a jab back at King Kong, and I'm all for that because I felt Godzilla should have been a lot more dominant in that movie, but that's just me. Not hating on King Kong, but I'm a Godzilla fan first. Godzilla throwing Gabara over his head and Gabara landing on his face and being knocked out. And then leaving. Godzilla goes over to Ichiro. Looks like he wants to pick up Ichiro, but then Ichiro wakes up. Bye Godzilla, bye Minya. So, Ichiro, using his wits and using what he learned in his dream from watching Minya and Godzilla battle Gabara, he uses these things to his advantage, and he overcomes both of the robbers. I kid you not, he overcomes both of the robbers with traps that he sets, a fire extinguisher, and some biting. Okay. Meanwhile, the neighbor who takes care of Ichiro sees that his car was stolen by one of the robbers, and he calls the cops. The cops show up, they collect the money, and the robbers are chasing after Ichiro. Ichiro leads them outside, and then the robbers are arrested by the police. The next morning, Ichiro is this big hero. But he has one piece of business that he hasn't finished yet. He's walking towards school when his Gabara is being mean, and Ichiro proceeds to beat up Gabara. Not in a way where it's really violent, but in a way, where they're settling the odds. And one thing that Gabara did earlier in the film, he actually dared Ichiro to honk this guy's motorcycle horn. Ichiro said no. Well, this time he does, and the guy falls off the thing, gets paint all over him, hijinks ensue, and then the movie ends. And that was Godzilla's Revenge. Okay. I felt this movie should have been an after-school special. Should this movie exist? Sure. But a lot of it shouldn't have been in it. All the stock footage of Godzilla. I don't think that should have been done with stock footage. They had the suits. It would have been a little extra work. This movie did come out a year after Destroy All Monsters, but, they could have shot a couple of more scenes. I'm not saying that they're lazy, I'm just saying what I would have liked to see. Okay? The story is actually a really good story. It's about bullying and standing up for yourself against bullies, and that's a good thing. Minya as a character in this movie, I enjoyed. Got a little irritating at sometimes, but, Gabara is the best part of this film. And, unfortunately, Godzilla's barely in this, and that's why I'm saying that maybe he should have been not that big a character. He shouldn't have been in the main title of the film. This should have been titled something else. Godzilla is just a co-star in this. Minya is a new up-and-coming character. They put a lot of time and effort into writing the story around Minya, and it felt like Godzilla was already a side character in the film, and they just go ahead and make him a side character. Unfortunately, I can't say that I really enjoy this film. I do like the message, and I really do like where they went with it, but overall, I'd have to give this film a C. The human characters are really good. The scenes that they did film new with Godzilla, I felt they should have done more. This isn't a bad film. It's just right in the middle. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just there. Give it a watch. It's okay. Another problem biggest problem, last thing I'm going to bring up is the music. I really did not like the music. Okay, just felt very off, very wrong. But, you know, I give this film a C. Alright guys, this is Godzilla 851 saying goodnight. See y'all later.